Good morning, friends. This is Joy with Decor Made with Joy, coming to you from my craft studio here in Franklin, Tennessee. What I'd like to do today is make a video of me making a wreath and kind of teach you some of the fundamentals. This wreath is going to be a fall wreath, and it was inspired by a fall harvest pick that I got from Jam Designs and Supplies, and it's just got some beautiful bleached out looking maple leaves and some husk and gourd and pumpkin, and I just love it. Little touches of orange in here. So this is going to be a neutral kind of color combination. I'll tell you that wreath design is inspired by many things you see in nature. You may see someone else's wreath and you like a particular floral and you think, oh, I want to make something with that. Or in this case, I ordered these picks from Jam Supplies just because I liked the picture, and I thought, well, I can come up with something neat with that. So it was actually the floral pick that inspired me. And another thing I really like about this pick is it's so full, it almost stands alone. I'm almost not going to need to add much to it, but I will be adding some things. And in particular, I'm going to be adding some coffee colored peonies. I'm going to be adding some lotus pods and some different things to it. I've also got, not quite sure what I'm going to use just yet, but I've got some different, cattails and dried pods and seeds and different things that I think will be beautiful in there. And I'll be adding some of that. I don't kind of know sometimes until it unfolds. Now I'm just kind of cleaning up my grapevine a little bit. I had this in my stash, and it kind of, when I saw the shape of it and how big it is, that's when I was inspired to use those picks from Jam Designs that I ordered. So I'm just clipping off. I like to leave some of the little curly cues and little natural looking things, especially with the florals that I've selected all being natural. It's so you're just going around and clipping it off and cleaning it up. All right, let's talk about our bow. I went ahead and made my bow off to the side, off to the right. I have a little bow making station, and I'll make a video sometime of me making a bow. But what I've selected here are some 3 different kinds of ribbon. This back one is a real neutral, thick canvas with some gold beading on it. This was part of the Luxury Loops pack last month from Decorator Crafts. I've also, part of that grouping was this Ferrosilk chocolate colored real thin, I think that's a 1/4 inch ribbon that came in the Luxury Loops box. And then I had on hand this kind of goldy coppery velvet ribbon that I thought looked real pretty with the florals and also with these peonies. I just thought it looked real pretty. So what we're going to do is go ahead and attach this, and it's kind of mashed up, but we'll fluff it later. And how I attach it, when I make my ribbons, I attach some bind wire to the back. It's underneath the zip tie, and that I just feed that through the grapevine. So again, I'm just feeding it through the grapevine. Pulling it up tight, and I will twist, twist, twist in the back to attach it. Okay, Okay, I've got that attached now, and I'll show you the back here in just a second. And now I'm just going through and fluffing out my loops and straightening things, and we'll have to do this at the end as well, because making it, it'll all get out of whack, I am sure. But just take your fingers and pull it up, pull it up, pull it. Use your fingers to help you fluff. So I really like that, and I'll show you the back because I haven't trimmed it yet. Right here is where I attached it, and I just pulled it as tight as I could and twisted it 5 times to lock it, and then I'll trim that off, but I'll wait toward the end to do that. All right, so you can see that I design on an easel on an elevated table, and some wreath designers design flat on a table with a mat to protect the table, whatever way that works for you and whatever you find comfortable. So again, I design on an easel. So the first thing you're going to want to do with your floral pick, whatever season you're working on, is just really pull out the pieces and separate them and get them as nice and full as you can, because of course they become pretty flattened in shipping to you or in the store, and you just take a few minutes and kind of pull it all out. The second thing you're going to want to do is trim your stem. I've already trimmed it once, but I'm going to trim it on an angle so that it will insert right into the grapevine itself. And this is a thick one, and so I'm having to kind of go around the back and do it there as well. Do you see how I trim that kind of on an angle there to insert right into the grapevine? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, I pushed my ribbons out of the way so that I can insert my pick right into the grapevine itself. And I'm going to dip it in my glue skillet or glue pot, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then I'll take it and go right between some pieces of the grapevine, and then that will the glue will dry, and that will hold that in place. And for added security, because when you sell your wreaths, you're going to ship them, you could go back in, and I believe I will, and zip tie up high the pick to a grapevine tying, and then it's not going to go anywhere. So I just tuck up underneath my florals and get my zip tie. Nice and tight, and then you're going to cut that off. Okay. Repeat the same thing on the other side. I cut off my stem so that it is on an angle and will insert right into my grapevine. I go ahead and spread out my florals and my husk and leaves, gourds, just spread them all out so that they're nice and separate and not hidden. Then I'm going to dip it in my glue skillet, swirl it around a little so you don't burn yourself and drip it all over the room, and then insert it right into the grapevine, down close to the ribbon. Then we're going to take our zip tie Separate out our that off. Lift and separate. Sounds like a bra commercial, doesn't it? Lift and separate, and that is nice and secure, both sides, not going anywhere. Next, what I'm doing is just trimming off my peony stems. They come nice and long, and you don't really need all that length, because you're going to thread this down through your grapevines. I've already done these, but if your peonies are mashed, you can use your steamer to get them nice and pretty looking. All right. Now we are going to what I call dry run our peonies to see where we want to place them. There's a big hole right there, so I definitely see one there. A hole right here, so we'll probably do one there, and maybe one right here, and lay it right next to that gourd. That's pretty, isn't it? So with dry run, you can glue them in and then pull them back out, but I just find it's a lot easier to dry run it and kind of get it where I want it. So let's go ahead and glue those in since we're happy with that. You know, florals grow in nature. They don't grow straight out. They, are pointing down. So I bend my stems a lot, sometimes even on an S angle like this, so that I can get them into the grapevine looking more natural. So we're going to dip that stem in glue and go down into my grapevine. Find a good spot for that, and I like that. Same thing here. Let's bend it more toward an angle, dip it in my glue, and put it into the grapevine. And this one has the added bonus of hiding the mechanics of the zip tie there, which we love doing that. And then let's do this third one. Glue that in. And then I let them dry, and I go back and tug on them a little bit to make sure that they're in there well. So let's do the other side. Trim. Already did these two, and dry run it. I don't try to match each side, but get it kind of close. Definitely a big hole right here, so I like that. Up next to this gourd, that's pretty. And this one maybe right down in here, nestled in these leaves and husks. Step back and let your eye look at it and see if you like it. And then if you're satisfied, glue them in. If you're not, move it around till you are satisfied. again, we can go back in and take these out and move them around later if once we glue them in, if we change our mind. Okay, so let's step back and see if we're happy with that. That is really pretty. I love that for the fall. And you know, honestly, you could stop right here. You are done. That's how easy this design is. But you can keep adding if you want to. This pick happens to be so rich and vibrant and textured. I just love it. Just love it. Good job, Jam Designs. Kind of in my mind seeing the lotus pods here on the top. So let's take a look at that, dry run that, trim them off, and see what we think about that. Yeah, I'm liking that. So let's go ahead and glue that in. Dip, dip, dip. Insert between the pieces of the grapevine and have it poking out there with the leaves. Okay, liking that. All right, I got these other fall things at Hobby Lobby. These came from the at-home store. This brown one came from Hobby Lobby. And so let's see if we want to use any of those. Ooh, that is really pretty. This color is nice. This, I'm not sure what it is, a pussy willow? I really like that too. And then this thistle looking, brown thistle looking. Oh, I love that. Okay, I am going to start with the brown thistle. Okay, so I trimmed off a couple of these brown thistles, and I could use floral tape to put them together, or I'll just twist their bottoms, twist them together, and my eyes kind of seeing, dip it in the glue, kind of seeing it rise up right out of here. That's pretty, kind of flirty and wispy looking. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Let's do a few more of those. We don't have to always do double. We can do some singles. And don't hesitate to just pull your leaves off if they get in your way. You don't need all those leaves. Those end up going together, don't they? Huh. What are you thinking about that? Is that pretty with the wispiness? I like to just stand back and stare at it a while, and it comes to me whether that's right for me or not. There is absolutely no exact right or wrong in art and floral design and wreath making. It's your preference and what your eyes tells you. All right, trimming off a few more back here. Let's see if I want to use them. In, scatter them around. Bunching those together there will make it just more of a statement. Good. All right. Let's stare at it a minute and see what. All right. I also got these big pods at Hobby Lobby, which I really like them. They're unusual. They'll add a lot of interest and texture in there. I don't think I'm going to add a whole lot, but just a little bit on each side. So dip them in my glue pot. Not sure where my eye is telling me to put them. Let's try right down in here. That's different. I like that. My style with interior design and floral design, I would say, is a mixture. I like some tradition, but I also like some contemporary kind of flares. And this just gives me contemporary vibes because it's, you know, not something you see every day, and it's kind of wild and free looking. That's neat. I love that. And then I'm going to take a piece and bend it over and have it coming up out of my bow. Like that. So I'm just using my finger as something to bend it over so that it curls down, and dipping it in my glue, going back behind the bow and finding a place in the grapevine to insert it, and pulling it down. And that kind of helps hide the mechanics of the zip tie holding the bow together. So again, let's stare at it a little bit and see if there's anything else we want to add. All right, I'm thinking another piece or two of this pod. Right work in the first place I put it, so I just pulled it back out and reinserted. Now I've got one more pod, and I definitely don't want to waste it. What I'm doing here is just pulling glue strings off. I don't know any floral designer that's found a trick not to have glue strings. The secret is just pulling them off, getting rid of them, or hitting it with a hot blow dryer, and when you're done, and getting rid of them. And if you drip glue on a floral, just wait and let it dry, and then you can pick it off. I think I'm going to go one more on this side. Yep, I like that. All right. So I am thinking we are done. I don't think I want to use the pussy willows or these other pods. I just think it's got enough in it. So let's look at it, fluff our bow. I'll pull the camera back and you can kind of get a bird's eye view. I am going to trim off these tails off this ribbon a little bit. Oh yeah, I like that much better. Okay, fluff, fluff, fluff. I really do like to go back at the very end and tug on everything to make sure it's nice and secure, because I don't want anything falling out later. These wreaths are expensive because the supplies are expensive, and you don't want it falling apart, and that's why you double and triple check everything. All right, I'm going to pull the camera back. I'll turn it off before I do that so I don't make you dizzy and sick, and I'll give you a front view look. Okay, there she is. What do you think? I really like it. It's unusual, different. I haven't seen anything like it. Well, thanks for watching and me make a wreath. That one was nice and simple. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask them. I'm happy to share anything I've learned over the last... I was doing wreaths for about a year on my own, and I mostly did deco mesh and ribbon. There's an example up here back behind me of one that I did, and they're on big wire frames, and I had fun and enjoyed doing that, but it was very tedious. It took forever to cut all the mesh and the ribbon. And then I don't know, I stumbled upon some other wreath makers, and the Candy Design School, and I joined that last January, and have just learned so much. I can make everything from big deco mesh stuffed pine wreaths and with big giant attachments on it, like the crab that you may have seen. I've done several of those, but the price point is expensive in those. And for my current customer, seems the grapevine sells the best, so I'm kind of focusing on that. But I've learned a lot in Candy's design school, and there are multiple tutorials a week, plus 5 years worth of tutorials on demand that you could pull up. But that's not the only designers that I learned from. There's a lot of YouTube videos that are available. A lot of designers sell tutorials. So I do all that as my time allows, and I've just learned so much. And you know, it's a great fun thing to express your artistic side, and so happy that I am learning new things at my age. I just love it. All right. Well, again, thanks for joining me, and if you have questions, please reach out. I'm happy to answer them, and you take care. Bye-bye.